We've got some great appointments by President Trump to these agencies and departments and to the White House staff. And one of them is for Secretary of Defense. Donald Trump decided to choose outside the usual group of people that I'm sure he was presented with, and he picked Pete Hegseth. Now, of course, the left is attacking Pete Hegseth, but they're attacking everybody. Homan and Steve Miller. So the better they are, the more the left will attack them. The better they are, the more media will attack them, and you better believe they're looking for dirt. I don't care what they find. These people are capable of doing these jobs and doing them very well. Pete Hegseth wrote a whole book on the Pentagon and what to do about the Pentagon. I mean, this guy's a lieutenant colonel, a combat veteran in two places, in Iraq and Afghanistan. He has kept in touch with so many of his fellow soldiers, and you see him on TV, and you see his commitment to this country and patriotism. But his job is to serve the President of the United States. He doesn't need to be a general. And look at these generals. Milley, what a disaster. Look what they did in Afghanistan. You can go right down the list. Kelly's out there and has been out there trying to sabotage Donald Trump. He tried to get others to sabotage Donald Trump when he was the President of the United States. We don't need generals like this. And the President's going to take hold of the Pentagon now for positive reasons. He's going to wring the wokeness out of it. He wants generals who are really serious, good leaders to rise to the top. You get a bureaucracy that starts to build and starts to promote itself from within and so forth. Unfortunately, it happens everywhere, including the Pentagon. And Abraham Lincoln came against this. Not there wasn't a Pentagon, but he came up against this when it came to his own generals. And he had to work very hard to find generals who wanted to win and knew how to win. So Pete was nominated. We found a very interesting short clip where he was interviewed, and I wanted to play this for you. Go ahead.
There's a chance to course correct it, but it would take a new Trump administration going after it really hard.
How would they correct it?
Well, first of all, you got to fire. You got to fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and you got to fire this. I mean, obviously, you're going to bring in a new Secretary of Defense, but any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever that was involved in any of the DEI woke shit, it's got to go. Either you're in for war fighting, and that's it, and that's the only litmus test we care about. You got to get DEI and CRT out of military academies, so you're not training young officers to be baptized in this type of thinking. And then, whatever the standards, whatever the combat standards were, say, in, 1995, let's just make those the standards. And as far as recruiting, to hire the guy that, did Top Gun Maverick and create some real ads that motivate people to want to serve. And there's lots of other ways in which you could identify who gets promoted and what, but there's an ethos change. I mean, there's a reason people don't want to serve, because they don't trust that their senior leaders are going to have their best interest in mind in combat. I know there were mistakes made on our tours all over the place, but I, at least for the most part, had a sense that my senior leaders were committed to the completion of the mission for the right reasons. And maybe there were strategic differences and all that other stuff, and it wasn't always perfect, but that trust is broken, and you have to reestablish that trust by putting in no-nonsense warfighters in those positions who aren't going to cater to the socially correct garbage.
Fantastic. And I bet you he attracts a lot of young people back into the military. They're going to see somebody like this. They're not going to see one of these long-in-the-tooth guys. And we need somebody who's not going to try and undermine the commander-in-chief, attack the commander-in-chief, take notes, and then write books after they leave. I don't know when that started, but that is a horrendous degrading of the military and the role of a general. I can tell you that. So, at least so far, it looks like President Trump's done with appointing all these generals around him. Instead, he's taken a retired lieutenant colonel who is exceptional, brave. Remember, he went to, I think it was Harvard, maybe Yale too. And he left, and he joined the military, and he graduated nonetheless. This guy is smart. He writes well. I've gotten to know him. My wife knew him before he was ever on TV. He worked for an organization where she was general counsel. And he was great then, as he is now. And so we're going to back him 100%.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.